is my 8th May Festival.
This is my 7th full chorus out of about 10 years.
I've sung in the May Festival chorus for over 20 years.
I think we're at about 135 to 140 people in the chorus this year.
We're so lucky in Cincinnati to have so many great musical groups. The fact that we have the choir games coming here, we're the singing city.
May Festival is different from the regular CSO season in basically the sheer volume of repertoire that we have to learn. We are practicing every single day, every day of the weekend, with performances on Friday, Saturday, and sometimes on Sundays as well.
Being a member of the May Festival Chorus has helped my musicianship so much in that sight reading skills and working toward a goal with a group of people, being one of a team, knowing roles. All of those things enhance my life, and all of those things are things that you have to be good at and work through to be a member of the May Festival.
I'm a music teacher, and I take what I learned at May Festival into the classroom. I share the music with my children at school. We move to it, we sing to parts of it, we act to parts of it, and I get to talk to them about the history of the piece and the composer and the historical time period that the piece was written in. And I share that, and it gets them hooked on classical music because they don't have a background in it. It's my job to bring culture to them, and I think by being in the May Festival Chorus, it's helped me become an ambassador for culture.
I joined May Festival because I thought it would be a perfect outlet for me to still continue to use the music that I've grown up around and I love. I do have a degree in music, but it's not what I wanted to do full-time. I also have a degree in communications and marketing, which is what I do full-time. I never wanted to rely on music for money because I felt that that would take all the fun out of it.
We are so lucky to have the May Festival Chorus here in Cincinnati. Not only are these just a group of incredible dedicated volunteers, but they're really good.
The wonderful quality of all the singers who give up hundreds of hours a year to rehearse and to do concerts. The May Festival begins late August. We have auditions. We begin in September and go right on through to the end of May, traditionally. And on the way to May, we just happen to be the symphony chorus of the Cincinnati Symphony Orchestra and the Cincinnati Pops. So we will perform typically 2 or 3 concerts during the course of the season with the symphony and or the Cincinnati Pops. And at the same time, we'll be preparing what is, for some choruses, 2 years' worth of music on 2 weekends for May Festival.
I realized my first couple years working with James Conlon that he is very passionate about the music. He's very knowledgeable. That passion really comes through, I think, in the concerts.
One of the great abilities that James Conlon always has had, both as a conductor and as a programming music director for the May Festival, is the ability to choose the perfect solo voices to match whatever roles, be it in a cantata or in an opera or anything. And that is a very unusual talent, and he's championed many young people's careers, and as well as having the traditional people who've had long associations with the May Festival, there are always exciting, new, rising singing stars coming along as well.
We know of around 200 cantatas by Bach, but so many more were lost, and it really is such a tragedy. There are stories about his music becoming paper for fish, literally wrapping fish in a Bach cantata, which is, oh my God, it seems incredible that would happen. And yet each one that we have is such a gem that we keep going back and trying to reconstruct more of them. And Cantata 192 is one of these that's sort of a reconstruction. We have a set of parts with some things missing, but no score. And we know from the history that it was done on a certain day, and it's a piece of thanksgiving and joy.
One of the wonderful things about the May Festival is that we have the opportunity to play Bach cantatas from time to time. And this is one I don't believe that we've done here before. It's a very interesting cantata in that scholars don't really know why Bach wrote it particularly, and it's a little bit shorter. And what is wonderful is that the chorale it's based on is so very simple. It's just really runs around 3 or 4 notes, all within very close position, but it has wonderful dance-like character in the last movement of it, and it's always just miraculous that one man who is so pious could write music that has such accessibility. Calm Sea and Prosperous Voyage is not to be confused with the overture that Mendelssohn wrote, but this is actually a short cantata that Beethoven wrote based on text by Johann Wolfgang Goethe, and it was given its premiere in 1815, if I'm not mistaken. Interestingly enough about this, when one thinks of calm sea, everybody thinks of something that's tranquil and lovely, but actually a calm sea is not such a good thing in this case because it means there's no wind and the sailboats can't get anywhere. The ships, I should say, the sailing ships can't get anywhere. But then the prosperous voyage is when the wind finally comes up and is able to whisk those people carrying their cargoes off to whatever port of call they are headed for.
This piece is referred to sometimes as a human requiem. In fact, he used that term himself, sort of a celebration of human life and of mourning. One of the movements is actually dedicated to his own mother passing. And this piece utilizes the orchestra in a way that only Brahms can. You know, whenever we see Brahms on the podium, the entire orchestra breathes a sigh of sort of thanks, like, oh, it's just great to do Brahms. And particularly with the choir now, there's an interplay. The orchestra is not an accompanimental role. We are sort of like equal forces in partnership presenting this massive, wonderful work.
When audience members are listening to the Brahms Requiem, they're going to hear a whole vast range of different things, from the textures of very few voices and instruments, sometimes even a cappella, to thick double choruses where there's fugal passages and just tons of stuff going on at the same time.
The melodies are beautiful. It's sung in German, which is something completely different than your traditional requiem, which is often sung in Latin. But it's just a wonderful piece in that it has this human aspect to it. It's not focusing on the darkness, death, and sometimes fear that comes with the traditional Mass of the Dead, but it really has this uplifting quality with these beautiful soaring melodies that stick with you after the performance is over.
Now, this requiem, unlike most requiems that we perform on the May Festival, is not a setting of the Catholic Mass, but called the German Requiem because Brahms himself chose texts from the Lutheran version of the Bible to set to music. And while it is called a requiem, it's truly a piece of a consoling piece, a comforting piece. Blessed are they who have died, and another movement, blessed are they that mourn, for those who are surviving. And a philosophically very important piece for Brahms, beautiful in every way, challenging to sing, and it is only natural to precede this piece with Beethoven and Bach, because the line of influence certainly goes Bach, Beethoven, Brahms, in terms of some of their compositional techniques. Many of the things Brahms does in the Requiem could easily have been done by Bach. The harmonic language has changed, but you get the big fugues, and you get the imitation, and you get incredible concentration and accurate presentation of the text in the music in the way it's set. Tchaikovsky probably needs no introduction to the symphony goer, with the popularity of the symphonies particularly, and Nutcracker most particularly, one of the great masterpieces of all time. But he did write quite a bit of choral music and incorporated the courses in his operas.
Of course, as I grew older and began to discover what a wonderful composer Tchaikovsky really is, I've really grown to cherish and appreciate his music, and particularly his operas that aren't so frequently done because of course, the difficulty of learning Russian text for the vocalists if they're not Russian-born. And of course, we have some wonderful Russian singer, Tatiana, who's coming back to sing with us. Hasn't been here since 2005, if I'm not mistaken, but she, of course, being Russian, this will be right up her alley.
I think we're getting better at the Russian language, but Mr. Porco is ever demanding that we sound like a Russian chorus, not an American chorus singing the Russian language. So it's going to be tough.
The one piece that is strictly a choral piece with soloist is a cantata called Moscow, which he reluctantly at first, that is, he was at first reluctant to write, and it became almost a last-minute thing. He wrote it like a month before, and what convinced him was the text. And it was literally a coronation anthem for the coronation of Alexander III in 1883, and the text reflects that in that it gives beautiful poetry and a brief kind of historic flashback of what has made Russia great.
The Moscow cantata by Tchaikovsky is riveting. The rhythmic aspect of it is very exciting, and we'll be working on the text for a while because it's not easy.
I think that the May Festival is really important to the city of Cincinnati because it's, number one, it's just a tradition.
I'm just thrilled to be able to sing with 120 people that are so dedicated, volunteering their time really just for the love of music. So I feel fortunate to be able to spend Tuesday nights and the month of May with those people.
And then also, it just speaks to the strong artistic community in Cincinnati, which I think is probably one of the best things about this city.